Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to our educational insight from Toronto Web TV. Our programs provides a platform for anyone who like to share the current issues or concerns in education, or good ideas for raising the new generations. Actually, for our past guests who were the representative from the Ministry of Education, school boards, like the trustee directors, or the representative from the community services. So today we are very lucky. Besides me is our honorable guest, the trustee Shaun Chen from the Toronto District School Board. Thank you for coming, Shaun.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, nice meeting you again.
Nice seeing you.
Actually, do you mind? Are you Chinese or Korean?
No, I'm Chinese.
You're Chinese.
Pretty sure of that.
Oh, wonderful. So, 新年快乐.
新年快乐.
This year is a very special
Yes.
because we know that the Valentine's Day and the Chinese New Year will be the same day for celebration.
And family day here.
Oh yeah, family day. So we are lucky, to have a long weekend.
Yes.
So how do you celebrate these great occasions?
Well, with family, with friends, and it's a good time to gather and just have a nice celebration with everyone.
Oh, wonderful! I read that Toronto School Board always care about diversity, right? So you celebrate multicultural occasions, right?
Absolutely. In fact, this week I have a school visit where one of the schools is performing Chinese New Year celebration dances and song, and so it's a very exciting time. And the children absolutely, we have so many diverse communities, so they take the opportunity to celebrate when they can.
Oh, good.
Yes.
So do you enjoy the night dance
Yes.
or dragon dance?
It's very interesting, yes.
Do you feel that it's a quite popular celebration around the world, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that image is associated with Chinese New Year all across the world.
Great. So I realize that you have been the trustee since last term, right? So are you going to run another campaign for this year?
Well, I think so. I haven't registered yet, but I'm looking forward to continuing to serve as trustee.
Okay, I hope so. Anyway, what do you feel about the role as a trustee? Can you
Well,
share with us, please?
It's a privilege to serve in this role. As trustees, we are elected by the people. We serve our constituents in making decisions around public education, and it's one that I'm very privileged to be able to serve the residents of Scarborough Rouge River, which is a very diverse community. So it's a wonderful opportunity to be in this position.
So for the past years, 3, 4 years already.
Yes.
So can you review regarding your past experience and what's your highlights for your contributions? Can you share 1 or 2 points,
Sure.
please?
Well, I've worked very hard to voice the concerns of the new immigrant communities, and in particular our English as a second language programs. When I first was elected to the board was only spending half of its money that it receives for ESL on ESL programs. At the time, I believe the board was receiving about $80 million per year from the provincial government, and they were only spending $40 million on ESL. So that was a main concern that I heard when I was campaigning and knocking on doors. So when I was elected, that was one of my priority issues. And 2 years ago, we brought this forward at board, and I was very pleased to move the motion to increase our ESL programming by $11.5 million. And this hired a number of ESL teachers that work in the schools, and I also moved the motion to establish 2 newcomer centers. So now we have 4 newcomer centers across the city.
Good.
Before there were only 2 located in the downtown core, which was something that the old Toronto board has set up many years ago. But since amalgamation, there were no newcomer centers in the north parts of the city, which was very unfortunate because a lot of the new immigrants are settling into areas like Scarborough. And so we were very pleased to see that the board agreed with the decision and moved forward to establish those centers.
Yeah, I heard that there's a high ratio between the staff, the ESL teacher and the children. How about the update? Is any improvement?
Yes,
Like one,
absolutely.
two.
Yeah, absolutely. We continue to improve on our standardized test scores and our EQAO testing.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there's still a gap. There's still a
Yeah.
gap in how well students do
Mm-hmm.
that are non ESL and those that are in ESL,
Mm-hmm.
particularly around English. So that's a gap that we must continue to monitor. We need to make sure that the supports are made available in the classroom, whether it's integrated or outside of
Mm-hmm.
the classroom support for the new immigrant children. One of the challenges really is that we get our ESL funding from the province, and the province only considers students that have been here 5 years or less for ESL funding. So a student in our board who's been in Canada for 6 years, who still might not be familiar enough with the English language and
Oh.
still need ESL support, we don't get money from the province for that child. So that's something in the funding formula that we have to tackle and change.
But do you know why? Because I just feel like because of the new generation, if they because of more and more certain like culture join together, like Chinese or Mandarin speaker, they live together close to each other. Even they don't need to apply English; they can communicate between their culture, their community. That's why
Yes.
they lack of practice. That's why
Yes.
they take years and years for ESL. It's not
Yes.
improved. But for go back to maybe the past 20 years ago, there's a lack. I mean, less Chinese or any minority community. That's why the children, they're so smart. They have to stick on English, no other way, English, English.
Right.
Then they graduate earlier than now.
Right.
Like my daughter, she only used 3 months
Oh, is that right?
for go through ESL
Mm-hmm.
because around her areas are Canadian speaking, like English.
I see.
So this is practice faster
Yeah.
than save money.
Absolutely, and I think there is a tendency when new immigrants come to a new community, there is a tendency to live within certain neighborhoods.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know if that's so much result of systemic issues that we have to deal with as a city, or if it's providing a safe space for new immigrants to feel welcome and at home. But certainly the integration issues are there. And as a school board, our concern is to make sure that each child has the proper foundation to learn and grow as students. And without proficiency in English, it becomes very difficult to
I know.
succeed in history or social science because you have to know the language in order to learn properly. So, so that's the concern for me, and we have made great steps forward in this area.
Do you think, as a role of trustee, you like to promote like bilingual, like okay, the new generation, especially for the new generations? Of course, we have to support our heritage languages, like international languages. Also, we have promote our literacy, like in English.
Right.
So, how do you encourage the new generation use bilingual, system?
Nice. Well, I think first of all we're a bilingual country to begin with, so
Yeah.
all our students have to learn French,
Mm-hmm.
so they have the benefit of hopefully being well versed in French as well when they go through our system. And the good part is that because we're becoming so globalized, that students and families recognize the opportunities that come with knowing another language. And at our board, we offer a wide range of languages through our International Languages Elementary program, including Mandarin and Cantonese. And students, if they're interested or their parents would like them to explore these areas, can enroll in these programs and learn another language on the side. So there are many opportunities to do this, and I think that it really opens the doors for future career and academic opportunities.
I'm very proud of the idea of Toronto's this is school board because they care about international languages. Is it a daily program, not only the weekend program? for international languages?
We have them. It's not a daily program. It's mostly after school.
Yeah.
Or on Saturday
Daily after
mornings.
school, is it?
Well, it depends. It's usually about twice a week.
Oh.
So I know that the old Toronto board had a more integrated program,
Yeah.
but it varies across the system. I know in Scarborough, in the area I represent, it's mostly after school, a couple times a week, and Saturday mornings.
Oh.
But you know, we're constantly improving on this. We're adding more programs. There was a new program that just started up in Nubian culture and language in my ward. And in fact, this was the first time any educational institution in the world has taught Nubian for the longest time. So this was a very interesting step forward. But I have to say we're really leading the way here at the TVSB.
Okay, can you tell us more detail about that? Is it specific program like beyond?
The Nubian language program? Oh yes, this is Nubian originates from the north part of Africa. And it's a language and cultural program, and it started at Hilliard School just this past year, and it's the first time we launched that program. But this is just one example. There are dozens and dozens of languages that we offer across.
That means one of the international languages.
Yes, this is just one of them.
Julian.
That's right.
Okay, I would like to learn it.
Yes. Oh.
I'm excited, right? You're wonderful, like the multiculturalism.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Anyways, I heard there's a new program as well. It's for the full day kindergarten.
Yes.
JKSK.
That's right.
We call like early learnings.
Yes.
Promoted by the government.
That's right.
So can you share about this, please?
Well, this is very exciting for us because as a board, we've anticipated this for quite some time, and the provincial government has talked about it for a number of years. And this fall will be the first time that our board will be implementing the full day learning program. We're starting with 71 schools across the city.
Wow,
6 of them are going to be in my ward. And
wow.
it's a very exciting opportunity because we've known from the research and from our experience that early learning is very important for children. It gives them that strong foundation on which they can be more successful later on in their schooling. So we know the benefits of this, and this will be a tremendous shift in our system. And the province has committed to implement full day learning in all schools over the next 5 years. So we look forward to that. And it again will be a very wonderful opportunity for the children. And I think that having that extra early childhood educator in the classroom with the elementary teacher will be very beneficial. In fact, we'll have 2 adults now per kindergarten class, and the province has said that the kindergarten class will now increase to 26 students. So that's a ratio of 13 to 1, which means hopefully that students will get a bit more focused attention, which they need in those early years.
Wow, it is so exciting.
Very exciting.
Right?
Yes.
First of all, I heard that you said 71 schools have been picked for running this program for this coming September, right? Were you involved for picking this school? Who decided?
Well, our staff went through the list of schools all across the system, and they identified the sites that they felt would be most appropriate to begin this early learning program in. It was a challenge. Number one, because right now our board is going through a number of area review committees. We're looking at school closures and consolidations. Number two, a lot of our schools are full. So there's no space in a lot of our schools, and if we were to expand a half-day program into a full-day program, it means you need more space.
Yeah, double of spaces, right?
And at the same time, we also wanted to focus on areas where there are socio-economical challenges in communities, and to provide early learning as quickly as possible in those areas. So on those factors, staff came back to the board with the list of schools that was ultimately then approved by the ministry, and they had the final approval.
So is different regions like for running this program. For instance, if the parent would like to really insist to go that school where they have running this a whole day program. But unfortunately, this belong to the home area. Can he or she accept it?
No, unfortunately, no.
Unfortunately, no.
Even if the school has space, the students from out of area are not allowed to enroll in those full day learning classes. Simply because if we opened it up, there would be hundreds of people lining up, and we just wouldn't know how to accommodate all of them. But keep in mind, the province is fully committed to ensure that we have the program in all of our schools eventually. So it will be a matter of time, but in the next couple years, hopefully parents
5 years.
Oh yes, over 5 years. I hope it's a bit sooner than that, but we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we can do it as quickly as possible, and parents will have the benefit of their local school.
On the other hand, if the parents, this is a choice of, even they have the areas that have a school running the whole day program, but the parent doesn't like the whole day. They insist to have a half day. What should they do?
They can talk to the principal or start with their teacher first of all, because we recognize that especially in those younger grades, transitioning to school from home can be very difficult for younger children. So every student can be accommodated differently, and that conversation starts with the principal, and what they do is develop an individual education plan to say that the student might not be adjusting well. So why don't we start off with a half day, and then we slowly increase
Graduate.
the full day. But it's we hope that parents take advantage of it, and based on the feedback I've been getting from parents, they all want it, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, for my petition, they all want it.
Yes, and in fact they want more than the full day, because when we implement the 71 schools for full day learning, we will have also the opportunity for parents to sign up for before school and after school care for their children. So in fact the program will run from 7:30 in the morning all the way to 6 p.m.
7 or 7:30?
7:30 in the morning
Oh.
to 6 p.m. So if parents want to have their children stay after school, they would have to pay an extra additional fee.
May I know how much for this kind of service before and after school?
We haven't determined that
You
yet,
don't
but
know.
we should know in the coming months, and definitely before September starts.
Oh, because I heard this is 7, but do you think 7:30 is not too appropriate to the working parent? For instance, some parents go
Well,
downtown.
7:30 is the starting time, so
I know.
hopefully, if parents have to drop their kids off at 8, that should be okay. But I guess you're
Good.
saying
Before
if
7:30 is not
before,
okay.
Yeah. Well, it's it's something that we're looking at certainly, and I think once it's clear what the demand is, we can excuse me.
Sure. I think we have a survey, maybe what are the needs between
Yes.
7 to 7:30.
That's right.
Right?
And this is the first year we're doing it, so
Yeah.
once we have a clear sense of where the demands are, we can adjust our programming to suit parents' needs.
Let's think about the criteria for picking the ECE teacher. And also, I heard that there's a 2 ECE with the one regular school teacher for accommodate the whole session from 7:30 to 7 or 7:30 to 6 o'clock. Is that correct? So
Yes,
what's the
well,
time slot in between?
Yeah, there are certain models that are being looked at right
Yeah.
now. The one that I think is the one that we're moving forward with has, you're right, 2 ECEs. One would be doing the morning shift, if you will, and then an afternoon shift ECE with the teacher working the full day. But that again is just the models we're exploring right now, and this will be the first year that we're implementing this. So nothing's really set in stone, but we have to start off with something, and we'll see how this turns out.
Bingo. I just wondered, those 2 ECE, are they the same criteria expectation of qualification? For instance, right, the regular now, the available for the daycare, they have a ECE, typical ECE, or a ECA, like assistant.
Right.
So what is your plan for the future?
Well, right now we have educational assistants that are in some of our classrooms.
Okay.
Some of them might be certified ECE, some of them might not, but they work as educational assistants. Excuse me, I'm a bit sick today.
Oh, so I hope you're okay.
But we are very clear now with the provincial direction that it will have to be a certified early childhood educator, an ECE, that will be working alongside the teacher for the full day learning program.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the qualification that they will have to have. And certainly we will go through our usual staffing processes of hiring to make sure there's equity in the system.
Mm-hmm. So we call it a register ECE for the
That's right.
college,
Yes,
right?
that's right.
Okay, is it start for recruitment, like hiring procedure now for
We
those
should
71 school?
Yeah, we should be gearing up to that. I haven't seen the job postings, but I know that our staffing decisions are coming in March.
Oh,
So certainly once we make those staffing decisions, then we will know exactly how many we need to hire, and we'll move forward to do so.
is it centralized hiring, like from this human resource department,
Right.
or the principal of that school can be the decision making?
Well, this will be a new decision, a new position for us, but I suspect it will be similar to how we hire teachers, which is a combination of both a centralized and a local process.
Mm-hmm.
Centrally, we interview the teachers to put them on an eligible for hire list, and then they're able to apply to individual schools that have openings available where the principals can interview and determine who they like to hire for their school after they've gone through the central process. So it's a combination of both, and I suspect this will be something similar.
It's a tough procedure, right?
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
Sean, I was very impressed. Like, had been this workshop.
Right.
It's organized by the AECO, you know,
Yes.
Early Child Education Ontario.
Ontario.
I really like this title, "With Our Best Future in Mind."
Yes.
We work together, right?
Yes, that's right.
So even the parents, everyone,
That's
like
right.
so implement early learning in Ontario.
That's right.
You, thank you very much to just share with the detail for implementation. But how about the curriculum? I heard it. They really very tough to have a specific curriculum
Yes.
for matching the needs of
Yes.
the learning early learnings.
Right.
Is this I heard it is a select they call.
Select.
Yeah, select. It's an early learning for every child today. The select. That's a short term.
Yes.
Are you familiar with this curriculum? And
I'm not familiar with that particular framework,
Mhm.
but I have heard about it. I haven't
Yeah.
gone through it in detail. Is really what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But especially at those early years, we're dealing with very young children that are just beginning to learn and grow. There's a lot of research that talks about playtime can be beneficial for children at that age. So certainly we will have the expertise there. We will be reviewing this framework and seeing what we can implement in the fall.
Mhm.
And I agree with you, that title, "With Our Best Future in Mind," is very appropriate because
Yeah.
it really speaks to the whole purpose of this whole program, which is to say that we have to make sure our kids have their best future. And their best future is really the best future for all of us. And so building that strong foundation, particularly in the early years, is essential and very important.
Yeah, I think I have briefly go through the curriculum. I really buy the terms like select
Right.
is it stand for early learning for every child today. It's
Yes.
updated, and I believe that too is we learn through plays, not just writing academics. Is it
Yes.
even any time of play like sensory
That's right.
experience and like we have a make believe play at the
Yes.
door center. There's a learning opportunities.
That's right.
So we promote this. I really appreciate that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and besides the early learnings, what is current issue you like to share with us?
Well,
I heard some closures,
yes, school
right?
closures. I did mention that. That's a very difficult issue that we're facing as a board, simply because over the past 10 years, our board has experienced declining enrollment, and we've lost about 30,000 students over
Oh.
the past decade. A lot.
It's an
you know,
old area because
Well, that's one issue. A lot
Mhm.
of the empty nesters where the
Yeah.
children have grown up and have moved out, and a lot of seniors now. A lot of newer families moving to 905 region where there's new homes and development, and and it's hard to say. There's many factors, and perhaps children, the people aren't having that many children these days too.
Yeah.
So, there's a number of reasons. But for us as a board, what it translates to is a decrease in funding, because our funding formula is based on student enrollment, and our money comes from the province. So the province looks at us and says how many students you got, and then a lot of the money that we get is tied to the number of students we have. It makes it very difficult for us because we have a fixed number of schools right now that we've had for the past 10 years. But at the same time, because our enrollment has decreased, the funding has decreased. So we get less money, yet we continue to operate the same number of schools. And some of these schools have gotten to the point where they're half empty or only 60% full. And it doesn't help us because when we have a school that's open that's only 60% full, we still have to hire a principal. We still have to heat the whole building. We can't heat half a building. We still have to repair the whole roof when it's gone bad. We have a lot of aging infrastructure in our board. A lot of our schools were built in the baby boom generation, so they're 30, 40, 50 years old now. They need repairs. It's a very shocking situation, and our board actually we compile a list of the capital upgrades and renewal that we need, and the amount is in excess of $2 billion. That's how much money we need to update our roofs, our boilers, our windows, and to make sure that our schools are kept up to date. It's a staggering amount, and not only that, we have to pay for maintenance of our schools. We have to repair our gym floors. There's a lot of work that needs to be done.
But after I was told that since the Ontario government promised that they had downsized the class, like from 35 till now it's 20 regularly.
Yes.
Is it balanced? Can you accommodate the enrollment like this?
Yes, in some schools, yes. So in some of those schools where the enrollment is very low at this point, with smaller classes, you have to have more classes, which means you need more space. But it doesn't necessarily solve the issue because the funding is still tied to enrollment. So we get less and less money every year, and it makes it very difficult for us to balance our budget. Last year, we had to cut 150 EAs, which was a very difficult decision. I did not support it because I didn't believe that it would be helpful to our system at a time when we need more educators.
It's affecting the special needs services, right?
Absolutely. We get funding for special education EAs, but certainly some of the EAs that we do have assist with students that are not identified yet, that are in need of extra time and extra support. And they do a tremendous job in our classrooms. So it's very unfortunate that we had to make that reduction. But it gives you an example of what might happen if we don't get more money from the province, because, like I said, the enrollment dictates how much money we receive. So our board right now is conducting area review committees in 10 areas across the city. These are areas where the enrollments are low, where there's a possibility that we can consolidate or close schools. So, for example, there might be there might be two junior kindergarten to grade 6 schools, and then a grade 7, 8 senior school. So we might look in that community and say, okay, can we close the 7, 8 school and then change the kindergarten to 6 schools to kindergarten to 8? So we have two schools at the end that are kindergarten to 8 rather than 3 schools. That's just one example. That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a very difficult discussion because local communities want their local schools, and schools are it's not just for education; it's for the community as well. A lot of times we permit out space for community groups, for neighborhoods to make use of the space, and it makes it a very difficult discussion.
But is any expansion area from Toronto or Scarborough or North York? No new areas? Because I heard that the new family, they would like to move to downtown for good. Like even Scarborough, they have a more condominium.
Yes.
Or do you think the new generation, like new family, will be available over that areas?
It's hard to say because the demographics shift all the time. but we, as a board, we value local schools. So we're not saying that there shouldn't be local schools, but we're saying that they should be strategic so that they're in areas where we have a critical mass of students that can benefit.
Do you
That's one
work
of
hard with the community, like the town or city, like they have a search, which kind of a survey, see
yes,
how is the prospect for the development
yes,
of
that's
the
right.
area?
Yeah, we have a very comprehensive perspective on planning. We have a
Mm-hmm.
planning department that looks at school enrollment, that looks at the projections. They work closely to look at the city's official plan to see where there are new approvals for development. And if there is, for example, a new condominium that's coming up in a particular part of the city, our planners then look at the local schools and say, can we accommodate students at these local schools or not? So certainly they do the monitoring there, but unfortunately, for some reason, the enrollment continues to decline, despite some of the new developments. A lot of the condos that are coming up are one bedrooms, so
I know.
they're not geared towards families.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's a difficult issue to tackle.
How about the high school situation?
Right.
Because now I know that the new like primary student a bit less and less, but how about high school? Is
Right.
still maintained okay?
Well, it's a trickle down effect. So
Mm-hmm.
as you get less students in the primary, they will continue to go
Yeah.
on, and eventually the high school population decreases as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's a chain reaction. So it's declining enrollment across the board.
So do you do any survey from the community, like if they are okay for the school
Yeah,
closures?
absolutely. So the 10 review areas that we are looking at right now, we have set up committees of
Mm-hmm.
parents that will make the final decision,
Mm.
and we hope that they do so on consensus. They will provide a recommendation to the board on what they would like to see happen in their local schools. And part of that process is to have community consultations. So there are community meetings happening across the city right now, where neighborhoods are invited out to give their opinion on these potential school closures.
Mm-hmm. On the other hand, about the high school situation, I heard it a great dropout from the high school, and also they had difficult to get in the university. So, you mind to share the updates?
Absolutely. Well, this is one of our focuses is on
Mm-hmm.
student success, and we want to make sure as many students graduate, as many students are able to pursue further academic opportunities as possible, or enter very productive careers in the workforce. We have a graduation rate of about 75% in our board,
Mm-hmm.
but
75%.
we also acknowledge, though, that there are certain groups that are particularly disadvantaged. For example, the widely publicized 40% dropout rate of black students,
40%?
40%,
Oh.
which is one of the main reasons why we move forward with the Afrocentric alternative school. We have to break that down. We have to say who in our system is not doing well, and what can we do to really meet their particular needs. But certainly, it's something that we focus on. Our test scores have improved in some respects on average, so we're doing well in that respect. But I think that we can always do better.
Yeah, how about the EQAO? This is one of the tool for measuring the outcome
That's right.
of the high school, like
That's
the
right.
literacy and math,
That's right.
science, something like.
Yeah.
So, are you happy with the outcome for the current EQAO?
Well, I'm happy that it's one of the indicators that we use.
Mm-hmm.
It gives us a sense of
It's improving.
it certainly is improving.
Okay.
But I think that every time we look at system-wide data, we have to break it down, and we have to say who exactly is benefiting and who's not in our system. So one example that I gave earlier was about the ESL kids. So we can look at EQAO scores and say, oh, everyone's doing well. It seems, but when we dig down
Seems.
deeper,
Yeah.
we say, oh no, wait a second. If we look at the new immigrant students, they're not doing as well as a whole. So certainly we have to look into that. But with that said, it's one indicator that we use. It's not the perfect tool, and I would caution parents that that look at EQAO as the main factor when they decide on how well their students are doing or which school they would like their kids to attend. Because as I say, it's just one aspect of it. And EQAO really only looks at literacy and numeracy. There are many areas in which student success is incubated through parent involvement, through community, through extracurricular activities, through the school itself and the social fabric. So we have to look at the whole picture.
Do you actively involve to any school councils where you can talk with the parents and find out their expectations? Because some of our friends, they would like to use the private school instead.
Right.
They don't buy the public education. I thought, why? He said, oh, because, okay, number one, they treated the curriculum is too later. Like, even the current announcement, they can cut down the homework. There are less challenges. But do you know these are very competitive nowadays, right?
Yes.
So is it too late? Like, oh, no homework, no tax after holiday kind of thing. Then how can you motivate the new generation to be tougher?
Yeah.
How to face challenges,
That's right.
right? So what is the strategy for this?
That's right. Well, it's an interesting debate, certainly. In terms of school councils, I make myself available to attend those meetings.
Good.
I hold regular ward council meetings where parents are invited to come to a meeting with other parents across the whole ward, and we talk about the policies that are being looked at the board and what are the pressing issues in education. School councils are primarily for our parents, so we certainly use that as a space for parents to voice their opinions and make local school decisions. And one of the issues, you're absolutely right, is the choice of going to the private schools and some of the issues around student success. But I think that we also have to step back a bit because a lot of the research tells us that the model of strict, authoritarian, repetitive teaching is not as effective as really focusing on the student and looking at each and individual student and saying, what is their needs, what are their needs, and how can we best meet those needs? And it's really customizing education so that each child is benefiting the most based on their, excuse me, based on who that child is. So we try to focus on that model. The homework debate was certainly an interesting one. But it doesn't necessarily say that if a student wants or is capable of doing a lot more homework or they're excelling, they want more difficult problems to work on, it doesn't necessarily prevent them from doing so. We always encourage students and parents to have an open dialogue with teachers, and if they feel they need that extra bit of push, that's certainly something that can be arranged.
Yeah, I think you work very hard for maintaining different areas of quality of a program. I heard you have the ratio between the trustee and school is a big
Yes.
kind of amount of school. How many schools you have to take care?
I have 37 schools.
Wow, on
It's
one trustee?
One trustee.
My goodness,
It's
how
it's a
many
very
trustees
big-
altogether from available in Toronto School Board?
there are 22 of us across
22.
the city. That's right.
Do you propose that like it should be more kind of a more seat for other trustee because like the proposal, the ratio is quite big.
That's right.
That's why we cannot carry so many school.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. It's and it varies a lot. I think I have one of the highest number of schools across the city
27.
in North Scarborough. I know that in some of the other areas there are less schools per trustee, but we are in terms of having more wards, we don't have the power to do that. The Ministry of Education dictates to us how many we can have as a maximum. We can propose to decrease the number, which I certainly would not propose, but in terms of increasing it, that is up to the provincial government. And excuse me, and our wards are generally aligned with the provincial and federal ridings. So so that's how our boundaries are set.
Yeah. Okay, Sean, I really appreciate you share with us so much details. I just do you mind I ask you a personal question?
Yes.
So, as a trustee one term, you said you would like to run the second one, next one. Is it any benefit for your overall improve development?
Absolutely, because it's such a huge system to
Mm-hmm.
understand. It's very complex, and I think having been able to serve one term has really given me the opportunity to learn about the system, and it really empowers me in my position to make effective decisions with the experience that I've had serving on the board for the past 4 years. So absolutely, I think it's a great benefit to have that experience.
So, is it a full time job or the part time job available?
It's considered a part-time position by the
Mm-hmm.
province, and we receive an honorarium that is a part-time honorarium from the province. Certainly, it can be a full-time position because there is so much work to do, so many committees and opportunities to be involved in the community, and to work with parents on educational opportunities for their children. It's a wonderful privilege, and I'm happy to be able to serve as much as possible to a full-time extent as trustee.
So if the new generation would like to consult you how to get it, the job, so what would you like to share with them
Oh, if they
as a
want to
run
be
the campaign?
trustees,
Yeah.
oh, I think it's a wonderful opportunity, and I encourage
Mm-hmm.
any young person to be involved. Um, Particularly, young people that are interested in the education system, that are really concerned about equity. Excuse me, young people that are concerned about equity and social justice. This is certainly a wonderful opportunity for them to be involved in a political way.
Yeah, and in more the education
Yes,
kind of
that's right.
channels for any kind of education too,
Yes,
right?
that's right.
Okay,
Absolutely.
thank you so much,
Thank
Sean.
you,
I know you're
Carol.
very busy,
Yes,
and then I would like to have another chance to share with you updates,
absolutely.
right? Especially maybe whenever you register,
Yes,
then we let us know, right?
I
So
will
we
let you
can,
know.
yeah, we look forward to having your campaign. We will all the best wishes to your
Thank
campaign.
you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much, Carol.
Nice.